Newcastle 1, Manchester City 1. Frank Leboeuf joins us from France. We'll be hearing from Frank in a moment. But overall, a draw's a fair result, yeah, for this game?
Yeah, I think so, because Newcastle, who've looked vulnerable at times at the start of this season, particularly their back four, and we saw Trippier get done in that first goal from Grealish, and then Dan Burn didn't do particularly well. But as the game went on, he handled Erling Haaland pretty well. They were limited to those sort of volleys that we saw from Bernardo Silva. There was one from Phil Foden when he came on in the second half. Gundogan had a half chance in the first half, but he had a poor game. And of course, the one question everybody's going to ask is this a result and going to be a consequence of losing Rodri? Can the midfield operate? Well, there's a simple answer. It can't operate to the same level without him as it can with him. That's a fact. But can it operate well enough without him to put a string of results together? And they certainly looked off colour today. Yeah, they did. Nothing in the final third, really, Stevie.
No, and we shouldn't forget there's no De Bruyne either.
Right.
I mean, if there's anybody who can whip a pass in or whip a ball in or pick somebody out or even stick one in the top corner, it's him. But without those two, I mean, over the years, we've been used to seeing City creating so many opportunities. That seems to have dried up, not just last week, but this week. And pretty much from the start of the season, they've not been creating as many chances as they used to. That is a fact. And that's got to be a concern moving forward.
Yeah, City just not quite at the level that we expect them to be, Frank.
No, we kind of frustrated by their performances, and I already alluded it last game that they played, and today again, where I really feel that there is no player who can change the pace of their game. Of course, we know what Guardiola wants, and try to fatigue the opponent, keep the ball, turn around, kind of a handball game. But we don't know. We don't see, except maybe Doku, anybody capable of taking on players, changing the pace. It's always the same rhythm, kind of. And because you don't have De Bruyne and now you don't have Rodri, you feel that they will never find that fantastic assist that those players are capable of giving to Haaland or some others. So, yeah, we are kind of frustrated. But overall, I would say that they've been clinical the first half. They only created that chance that Guardiola has transformed as a goal in the first half. But otherwise, yeah, we don't see what we want to see because of those players that we have on the field. But maybe it's because the two players who were the main distributors of those goals are not there.
Also thinking around Foden not starting. I know, obviously, we had the Euros, but we're almost in October now.
Well, I think that one of the things is, and if City were playing, well, they will be. If City were playing in midweek, I couldn't tell you what the team was. But if they were playing, if there was no game and there was a game next week, Premier League game, we could all sit here and pick a City side, and everyone would probably pick a different one, including the manager. So that's just the way he's shuffling it around.
But most of our teams would have Foden in it, wouldn't it? Because given how important he was last season,
particularly when De Bruyne is not around.
Yeah,
I would imagine so. But for some reason, he tends to do this now and again, and we've seen Savinho in patches as well. We've seen Doku in patches. We've seen Grealish out the side, and then you see him, obviously back in. He was a big part in the first goal, but yeah, I'm thinking back to the times when City have won the league and their successful time here in this run they've been on. Yeah, they've done it at times without a striker. Yeah, they had 6 months last year without Phil Foden, 6 months or thereabout. But have they? And I can't think of it off the top of my head, have they had the adversity where they've lost the best player, arguably their best player, very early in the season for the whole season and had to adjust using that? Don't forget De Bruyne come back last year and played a part, but they're almost going to go, we're so early in the season, they're going to have to go the whole season, unless they go out in January and do something about it, which I'd imagine they're not going to do, is to find a way without Rodri. They found a way without a striker, but they knew that before that season started, when they had Julian Alvarez as a false nine or Phil Foden as a false nine. This is very unexpected, and now he's going to have to adapt.
I really don't understand why he wouldn't play Foden.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. I understand, if you've got Rodri and you've got De Bruyne, and you try to just quietly and calmly bring Foden back in after his World Cup or whatever it was.
Yep.
The
Euros.
But that's not the case. You need somebody in there. You telling me that you really think that Nicol Lewis in there and Foden on the bench is the best way forward against a side who are fighting to be in the top 4? I don't understand it. It makes no sense at all. Every other manager on the planet, when they have Phil Foden fit and they don't have the 2 players that are as important as him, you're straight in. You're in the team. Because you need to win games. You can't be overly clever. He just seems to be being overly clever right now, as far as Foden's concerned.
He's obviously a big fan of Nicol Lewis, isn't he? But you can always put Gundogan a little bit deeper. You know, we've talked about Gundogan playing a deeper role on his own. That's not going to work. But he's got Kovacic there. So he can do a little bit of a hybrid. You could play Phil Foden in that number 10 role where he's been excellent, where he'll create things, where he'll drift into wide positions, where he'll give... You know, if Phil Foden gets turned in these positions, then Erling Haaland's going to win a watch. You know, because he's going to be able to poke those little balls through. So that's kind of a little bit of a head-scratcher, but we'll see what Guardiola comes up with in the next few games and over the next few months. But as I said, this is something that's sort of cropped up on him, and it's such an important cog in the wheel that has gone missing, that it is going to be really interesting to see how he's going to shuffle the troops to make this work.